So next up, we have President's Training, which I'll bring that up.
And even if there are those of you who are not presidents or vice presidents, you're still welcome to stay on and learn about what the president does, because all the positions are very interconnected. So it is a good idea to understand what what the expectation is of the president, even if you're not the president. So you're welcome to stay and learn if you would like.
Yeah, as I mentioned at the beginning, the mission of the mission of the California State PTA is to positively impact the lives of all children. And I think it's always good to refer to that, keep it in mind. And also, one of the things that I realize is different people will relate to this mission differently. Some people will relate to it of, hey, this is fun. We get to positively impact the lives of our children. And their focus can be on really sort of how fun it can be to be supportive, provide enrichment for kids. Others that they kind of like to have the impact on advocacy, perhaps advocating for improvements in legislation. They may focus on some of the advocacy aspects of it. And something that I heard the national PTA president say recently is PTA does PTA, and that really kind of stuck with me, where the PTA that we do is programs, training and advocacy. Programs because we are trying to provide enriched experiences for the kids. And so programs is, in a lot of cases, right at the front of what we want to do. All sorts of examples of programs I'm sure you can think of, whether it's bringing authors, having events, guest speakers, field trips, but also aside to support those programs, it takes an organization, and organization needs training. Hopefully you are thinking of your leadership position also being a position where you are helping to foster and train others that will come in after you. And hopefully you're able to get training from third district and from those that may have come before you. And then also the advocacy. So there's been a lot of things that PTA has done. Its roots go deep in providing things that have made it through legislation and have provided programs like the free lunch program. And let's see, Cheryl or others can, Sue can probably also mention several that are escaping me right now, some of the advocacy things that have been really impactful in our education system.
Well, we advocate for school lunches.
Yeah. More recently, thinking of things, there's been advocacy on outlawing the candy flavored tobacco and nicotine products and vaping to try to stem the influence of getting our kids addicted on to nicotine products. So our third district, as I mentioned before, I'm president. We are here to help support you, giving training, passing on what knowledge and learning, and hopefully growing your PTA at your school site. And so these are our executive board. So these are the people here to help support you. You can find them on our website. and reach out to us anytime. So to let you know what the third district is, our third district in terms of territory, geographical area, it encompasses 8 counties. Sacramento, we're actually 3 of the 15 largest school districts are located in Sacramento. San Juan Unified, Sac City Unified, and Elk Grove. Elk Grove, I believe, is actually the largest. But geographically, we support all the way up to Lake Tahoe and into Colusa and Yuba, Marysville areas. So our role on the third district is to provide that training and tools for you as leaders. So we want you to feel comfortable reaching out to us anytime for whatever you need. We assign mentors. If you go to our website, you can find training. Training like tonight is being recorded, and we've had training recorded for several years. So it's there at your fingertips for you to review and watch. There's also presentations there. So that's one source that we provide on the third district. As I mentioned earlier in the night, there's also the leaders website at CAPTA. So there's also a wealth of information there. Oops, yeah. So we have mentors also as we improve the calendar. So the calendar can be useful in keeping track of the deadlines and things that you would need to keep track of as a leader. Things coming up, as well as having the forms to help fill out the required filings and things that are needed throughout the year to maintain that nonprofit 501c3 status. And so, okay. Cheryl or Sue or Peggy, anything you think of that you want to add? All right.
Well, just that you know, if your mentor hasn't reached out to you already, which I believe all the mentors have, but as you know, when we reached out, perhaps we didn't have your PTA's roster yet, so we didn't have your name or contact information to reach out to you. So, but if you somehow missed the email or you didn't get the email and you don't know who your mentor is, go to that website, that second bullet right there, and it will tell you who your mentor is and how to contact them.
Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that we have, I believe it's currently, is it 146 PTA units in the third district. I wouldn't surprise me if later this year we reach 150. Something that, and just to kind of give you a heads up now, I'm planning in the next week or two to send out an email to all the PTA presidents, letting them know that you know, our California State PTA really encourages connecting with the presidents. The presidents connecting with each other to support not just, you know, going to the third district, but some of the best ideas you can get from other PTAs. So I'll send out an email to just sort of give the PTA presidents, if there's any PTA president for some reason that doesn't feel comfortable sharing their president email address with other PTA presidents in the third district, then giving them the choice to opt out. But I guess after a week of seeing if anybody opts out, my plan is to send out to all the PTA presidents contact information for the other PTA presidents. So then it makes it easier for the presidents to connect with their peers and, you know, share ideas. really the strength of community comes from communication. So that's what one of the roles I view that we can do as a third district is improve the communication, not just between us and the units, but among the units also.
And I happen to be the mentor for all the Natomas Unified PTAs and all the Folsom Cordova PTAs, and a few outliers like Miwok Village and Elk Grove and a couple of ones in a few other school districts. But I intend to set up a mixer, and I'm for all the Natomas PTAs, so all of you can get together and meet each other face to face and share ideas and maybe help each other out and cry on each other's shoulder if you want. um, find out what other PTAs are doing. Maybe do some joint projects together. Um, since we will be having two new PTAs coming up soon. With MP3 that just organized, and then Natomas Park, which we'll be organizing next week. We're gonna just get everybody together and just have some social time. And I'm gonna do the same for the Folsom Cordova units as well.
Yeah. And I'm glad to see that, it looks like there's quite a few, chat comments. So I believe, people can use chat to connect with each other now. So if you notice that, there's somebody at a neighboring PTA, I believe you can message them through the chat and say, hey, let's get together. So want to just encourage people to strengthen the communications, reach out. That's what builds the strong community. Okay, so PTA, we have a support structure. Our framework is that units, some PTA districts, and we used to have councils, and maybe at some point in near future we'll bring back council. So the council is an intermediate one that helps support the units between our district. Like I said, our district, we're supporting 150 PTAs. Inside San Juan Unified, there's 23 PTAs. So those 23 PTAs would have a lot in common, being in the same school district. And also, I think Sac City has 20 some odd PTAs. So being able to create councils, then those PTAs can actually support each other on things that are more related to, say, their school district. But then we're here as the third district, and also the California State PTA to support you, and also the National PTA. And as a all volunteer organization, it's something I like to remind, because a lot of members don't realize that none of the officers at any PTA level get a salary or paid. We're all volunteers, from the National PTA president to the California State PTA president, to myself, and as you know, to the presidents and officers at the school site. So that is something that we are an organization of human resources, where we give training and support to each other, as well as representing the interests of kids and advocating for having a positive impact on the lives of children. And as a PTA, there are some basic policies we adhere to. We are non-commercial. Now, by non-commercial, that means that we don't endorse any businesses. Now, to make a good distinction here, you can, and we actually encourage you. So when a business donates to you, you can put, thank you to Chipotle restaurant, thank you to Safeway, thank you to Albertsons for donating to us. And one of the aspects that I do is encourage PTAs to get their own websites, because as a PTA website, you are much more free to post on and also to communicate, because like I said, communication is key to community and the community of your PTA. So websites are one way to help keep your PTA community informed, keep your donors informed, recognize your donors. So that's not being commercial to thank commercial enterprises that have donated to you. The distinction is you can't tell your membership go and do business with that commercial entity. That is something that when PTAs only use like the school website is a government website, and they're much more restricted on what they can do. Plus, when you want to communicate to your members, you don't want to say place a burden on the employees of the school site, asking them to do updates to your PTA webpage because it's hosted on the school website. We've had a number of PTAs just in the last month get their own websites, and that's something that I like to do and help them. And you can get those websites free hosting through Google, and I'm more than happy to put in the application and do all the paperwork for you. So we're also non-sectarian, basically, nothing tied in any way to religion or references to religion. So we're nonpartisan, and lots of times there is confusion, I think, between being people think that if you're nonpartisan, you have to be non-political. That is not at all the case. It means that we don't favor or any political particular political party, but we are definitely for involved in politics of advocating for policy. So if the policy is good for improving the lives of children and families, then we don't care what political party the person is that may be in the legislature or the governor that can move that forward. So now this support structure for your PTA, a lot of it is in bylaws. So your bylaws, I always like to say that written documents take precedence over what's verbal. So I would say, make sure that your policies and practices match what is in the written documentation of your bylaws. And if things change, for example, if your membership dues, you decide to make a change to your membership dues, then you need to go through the process of updating your bylaws to do that. That is actually part of what I consider communication. So things put in writing, the reason things are put in writing is it is a method to communicate. So literally you can get people on the same page. So a written document provides a foundation of a common basis, where common ground where everybody can say, yeah, we all agree. Some may not like what's in writing, but you can all agree that's what's in writing. And if for those that don't agree or with what is written, then we're a very democratic organization where there is a process of going through and making changes to those written documents. There's different parts of the bylaws. So changing membership dues is a more involved process, but changing such things as meeting dates, those are in the standing rules sections of the bylaws. So there's a lot greater flexibility in making changes to those parts of written documentation of how your organization runs. Sue, our parliamentarian, is great. She is a wealth of understanding the bylaws and can also help you in updating your bylaws if you need to. Let's see, Sue, is there anything you care to add at this point?
No, we have, keeping in mind that the IRS requires all 501c3 nonprofits to have current bylaws. So if you look at the date in the back of your bylaws when the state parliamentarians signed them, that's the date we're looking at, and your bylaws should be no older than 5 years. If they're not, please contact me or attend the bylaws updating session on Saturday, and I'll walk you through the process of how it's very easy to use the e-bylaws program and update your bylaws.
Yeah, thank you. So it's important to keep our nonprofit status, and you need to do that by filing with the government, letting them know the funds that come and go, that they're being used for things that fulfill and meet the requirements of being a nonprofit, that the funds aren't being used to finance a political campaign or otherwise being used for things that nonprofits are not supposed to do. This is Peggy Parker's area of expertise. She is great and has a wealth of information and is a fabulous resource. So anything that's kind of related to that, Peggy is a go-to expert. Peggy, is there anything you care to add?
The only thing I would add, Tom, we are going to be having a tax prep help filing workshop on October the 5th and October the 12th. However, it's only for PTAs who earn $50,000 or under. If your PTA earns more than $50,000, I would implore you to get a tax preparer who is familiar with filing nonprofit returns and pay the fee and go to them, because it would be well worth it. Because we had a unit who went to and you know what, and got into trouble. So you need to be very careful about who you choose to do your taxes. Make sure that they are authorized and qualified. I am not an accountant. I am not a tax preparer. I have been doing this kind of stuff for several years, so I know some things and can help you navigate the waters. And I'm more than happy to do that.
And for those that make less than 50,000, how much time does it usually take to do the paperwork?
It can, depending on how good your previous treasurer was, how good of records they kept, it can take you a couple of days, maybe a whole week if you have to go searching for the numbers that you're going to need. But it really isn't very long of a process. And if you think it's going to take you a really long time, you can always file for an extension. No harm in that.
And Chan, is there anything, since this has to do with keeping, oh, go ahead, Peggy.
Krista has her hand up.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Hi there. I just had a quick question. So when we're filing the taxes, I was president last year and Cheryl and I did it. Is that for the training? Is that something the treasurer should do, or should I plan to be at the training?
It's something the treasurer should do.
Okay.
In a perfect world, the treasurer would do it. Sometimes the world is not perfect.
Yeah, because I did it last year and it was fine, but we have a really awesome treasurer this year, so I just want to encourage her to be on that call.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but Krista, since you have all this experience now, If your treasurer needs help, she can call upon you.
Yes, she can. I have lots of experience now.
There you go.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, thank you. Okay, so according to, I believe it's California nonprofit law that every PTA has to have a president, treasurer, and secretary. It is really useful to have as more people. The greater number of people you can have involved in your leadership, then the easier it is to support your members, and having people involved in so you can have somebody that basically focuses and specializes on membership, another person that focuses on maybe fundraising, another person that focuses on programs. So many hands make light work is the idea. And it builds the strength. It also provides a welcoming environment to your members, because you'll have people that go, I would never feel comfortable being a president, treasurer, or secretary, but they have something that they feel that they can contribute. I frequently recommend that when people become members, if you can, ask them to share what are their hobbies, their interests, their profession, and use that as a resource, because along the way you may have something that comes up where you need some a particular skill set, and if you're able to have these people that have volunteered and you can match needs with resources. That is really a lot of what volunteer organizations do, and PTA does, is you've got the human resources of volunteers, find out the depth and breadth of those human resources, and then work with your school to have those resources fulfill the needs at your school. And it's always good, it's good to have an executive vice president, like I say, training. Ideally, training occurs throughout the entire year, as opposed to just having somebody go, okay, I'm done with president, you're president, go to the training, watch the videos. Having vice presidents or executive vice presidents that you can kind of help along the way, it helps keep the robustness and strength of your organization to continue. So, okay, president's duties. I think we're high up there on the list, if not number one, is the president is communicator. Make those connections with your executive board, with your members. As I said before, it's that communication builds that community. Need to preside over the executive board. You are the figurehead and the face, the image of your organization. So let people know that you're approachable and that you're there to help them and help make those connections for what are needed with the resources available. But you also have to assume that responsibility, because you're in it's that saying, the buck stops here. So in the end, the president is kind of responsible for what happens within the organization. So it's good to keep in contact with your members to build trust relationships with those on your executive board. Learn their strengths and weaknesses so that you can know where to help them and where to find resources and what resources they can use to help support the needs in your organization and support other members. As president, you're involved in the financial responsibility. So being familiar with the financial procedures, you are one of the check signers, and there need to be at least, two check signers, and you're one of them, so that as president, you're aware of what's going on, and can make sure that you're your organization doesn't go off track. And one tool for doing that is being being involved in the signing of checks and contracts. Where organizations sometimes go off track is where there becomes whether the people in charge then start considering the PTA that they own it, and instead of it being owned by the members. So that's why in our bylaws, and it's written that you can't have be related to other check signers by blood or marriage or reside in the same household. Those are some of the structures that are put in place to maintain the integrity of the PTA organization, and things that the PTA and the California State PTA has learned over the years, and the bylaws continue as a living document. I think every year there may be little adjustments and changes to adjust and improve them. Contracts. So contracts, if you decide to sign contracts with vendors, that's the responsibility that the president has to be, must be one of the signers. Usually it's the president and treasurer that assumes those fiscal responsibilities. And as president, being a communicator and collaborator, it ties to communication. So being as much as you can, be involved in other things that are going on, at least be aware, because sometimes being aware of what's happening in school site council, what might be happening in a boosters organization, or other communities, I'll kind of call them sub communities, whether it's maybe parents that are together because they're all the kindergarten and first grade parents, being aware of the different entities inside of your community, inside of your school, and making sure that everybody feels that they're included, and making those connections between groups to help each other. Your principal, being the principal of the school, knows a lot. That's a wealth of information because he knows what's going on with the employees. A lot of times he knows things that are going on with students that even the parents don't know. So meeting with the principal regularly to support the principal, support the employees, as well as because lots of times the principal doesn't know what's going on may not know some of the things that are going on with parent groups. So being able to share that information with the principal helps build the strength of the overall school community. And so having a good relationship with the principal can be important. That's why the principal is in the bylaws. He's a member of the executive board, so he can attend the meetings and knows he or she can attend meetings, knows what's going on with the PTA. So keeping the school organization and the PTA working together and synchronized so that things don't come up where there's conflict, or for some reason they're working against each other. It's important to engage in that good two-way communication and respect, and to respect the knowledge that each side has. And it's by scheduling it, lots of times, talk about things, and yeah, that's a good thing to do, but I really recommend scheduling it, and it's good to schedule at the beginning of the year. So go ahead and set aside that, mark it on your calendar, and set it up for meeting several times a year if you can, with the principal, just to touch base. It keeps that communication going. So scheduling, putting things on a schedule. That's one of the reasons that we approved a calendar tonight. It helps us keep the organization on track and moving forward, and things don't get forgotten and missed. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, I guess so the principal is also a member of the nominating committee. So when it comes time to nominate the next set of officers on the nomination plate, lots of times principals will have knowledge and of parents that are involved, that maybe whatever reason they're not part of the haven't been involved in PTA, but might be a good one to bring on board, that the principal is aware of through his interactions with parents. So it's the joint responsibilities of the president of the PTA and the principal to work together in communicating, scheduling, understanding the requests and needs that the school site has, and respecting each other's roles, so that you can work together, and promoting family engagement. Lots of times on the employee and principal side, there are requirements through school site council to document and to show evidence through official compliance documents of that the school has got doing good family engagement. Well, having the president of the PTA involved in that, then that's a good area that you can work together to promote that family engagement and build a stronger school. It's well known and documented that school sites that have the parents engaged provide some of the best education. It's where the highest performing students and academic achievement occurs, and I've seen it myself, firsthand experience of seeing school sites where the parents and the teachers, the administration, all students are connected, working together. It can provide a phenomenal experience that produce lifelong memories, and really get the students involved and really they value education. And when you have students and children that see the value and enjoy education, they become lifelong learners, and it really can take them far and lead them to a very happy and productive life. Okay, so school, so as president and on your board, then you want to have your board get oriented, get to know them, work together as a board to identify the goals and programs of what it is you would like your PTA to accomplish over the coming year. And then once you identify those goals and programs, then communicate them out to your membership, get your families engaged. And if need be, if these programs and goals need fundraising, and get them to buy into it. There's lots of ways that families and programs can be done that don't require much fundraising. But take a look at what your goals are, and if they're goals that do require fundraising, that's where your membership and having people engaged can help. If they don't require much fundraising, then a lot of cases they can be done because you have that wealth of parents that have broad experiences and depth, that you can get parents that have expertise in areas. So those parents the greatest value that some of the parents are what they contribute through their volunteer time and hours. Now it can be a lot more valuable than them writing sometimes a big check. So the key is membership, getting your whole community involved. Cheryl told me, I think just a couple of days ago, that one of the schools has got, is it over 300 members? So that's phenomenal. We've had lots of schools at the beginning of this year that they've started out with 100 members, because they've signed up through Totem, and Totem automatically notifies them, oh, it's time to renew. And they just automatically renew. So then putting together that budget of how you're going to accomplish those goals, your board works together on that. And if need be, adjust the goals, adjust the budget to accomplish what you want to do this coming year. Okay. So so as part of the board orientation, it's good to have them review the bylaws. It really helps build that common understanding of what the ground rules are, of how your organization operates, how it does things. Every school has its own sort of culture, but having the written bylaws, the ground rules, knowing what's in the insurance guide, and especially if you have procedure books that can be handed from person to person, from say the fundraising chair to the next fundraising chair, so that people don't have to reinvent the wheel every year. And if somebody comes on board and they've got a great new program, and they implement that, encourage them to write up how that program was implemented that year, so then it can be replicated next year, and the people that may come into that position later, they've got something that can help them guide them. Okay, so starting with what it is that you want to accomplish. So consulting with your principal, consulting with parents, people that have been part of the school community, to help identify the goals and objectives that you want for the coming year. It helps when things come organically, that everybody feels involved in it. So frequently you can use surveys, and if you want to get ideas from the community, then people feel more connected. They feel like they're being listened to, and they feel like they're being listened to and welcomed, then they're more likely to contribute. That builds out your membership and builds out the strength of your PTA by being connected with those community needs. And those community needs are what can help direct programs. So people will then buy into the programs because they see it as fulfilling a need in the community. And then as you develop them, put it on the calendar, develop timelines, and communicate that out, so people know to put it on their calendars and to plan for that event in the spring. And sometimes some of these events may be months in planning. So communicating out the timelines and putting them on a calendar. Let's see, and I've been going for a while. Is there any, I'll pause here, see if there's anything that any of the other members from the 3rd district want to add, or also see if there's any questions that people may have.
I have not seen anything in the chat. So if somebody wants to raise their hand, now would be the time.
All right. Okay. All right. So it's important to realize that fundraising is not the goal or purpose of the PTA. It's really the programs Fundraising can be easy that people, because it tends to be quantifiable, but the objectives of PTA are kind of more, I tend to think of it more subjective and not as tangible, because you want to create experiences and
Tom,
yes.
you have a raised hand.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead and unmute and I'll give you the floor.
Hi, this is Karen from Aspire Chaw in Sacramento.
Oh, yes. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Tom. I have some questions. So we're kind of just getting our feet wet. I'm looking for how to get the middle schools involved and entice them to be involved.
All right. Are there, well, it sounds like there's particular schools that you have in mind. So reaching out to those schools, it can help if you can maybe talk to the principal at your school and ask your principal to make connection with the principal at the middle school and kind of perform those introductions. It really kind of helps if to work through that network of connections, because you know your principal has probably has connections with people at that middle school, the principals at that middle school. So by performing that introduction, then it allows you to go into that middle school, make those connections and have those introductions, so that you're just not coming in and people go, yeah, I don't know who this person is or why they're here. So that is that's one thing that comes to mind for me. Does
They could
anybody else?
also ask their mentor for more help for that.
Oh, yes, yeah. And if the middle school has a PTA or a mentor, or just reach out to the mentor, because even if that middle school doesn't have a PTA, it may have had a PTA in the past, huh?
So our school is kindergarten through 8th grade. So we are the PTA for the school. And so I'm trying to get the junior high kids involved to try to help with any programs that the community is needing.
This is Krista. I just wanted to say H. Allen High and Natomas Middle School share a campus also. And last year, when we did holiday fair, we blended it with Posada night that the middle school wanted to do. And so it was a great way to get everybody introduced to each other. And the middle school kids were there and the elementary families were there. And if families had both kids in middle school and elementary, everybody was there. And then we actually included them in, we did a coffee cart for Teacher Appreciation Week, and we invited the teachers from Natomas Middle School to participate. And so we really bridged the gap with the middle school since we share a campus as well.
Okay. What kind of things did you entice the middle schools to participate? Because I think they need some encouraging.
I guess it just depends. Like just speaking for you and I can connect offline as well. But for Posada night, the middle schoolers really wanted to do that. And so we let them just sort of have an area in the multi-purpose room, and they had music and food set up, and they encouraged their friend. It was actually more junior high kids at the event than our families, which was great. But we just worked with their PTA and ASB to coordinate that event and let the middle school kids really take the reins on helping plan it. And it was all their ideas that we executed with the ASB.
Okay.
You could also maybe have middle schoolers like serve as committee chairs for some short-term little project, like an activity or something. It gives them some leadership skills and experience, because they would be under the supervision of the adults on the PTA. And as far as incentives go, I don't know if you have like a a PBIS program or something like that, where you get citizenship points, or you might be able to work something out with the principal to, you know, come up with a reward system using existing incentive systems that you have at school.
Okay.
Yeah. Something that comes to mind too is if you have an event where you have a guest speaker. I'm thinking, I'm not sure if schools have done this, but could like invite perhaps a school board member to come and talk. So there are frequently things that you can civic organizations where it doesn't cost money to have somebody, but if you have an event also where you have like an author of a book come and they give a presentation, that you might be able to reach out to those middle schools and say, hey, we've got a big auditorium or a place reserved, or you're going to have it in a place where you can have not where there's room not just for the students at your school, but students from another school, and make a connection and invite them. So it's a way to maybe make connections for the for a common interest of having a guest speaker on a topic that might cut across the board. It looks like Amanda has her hand raised. So
Thank you.
go ahead, Amanda.
Hi, thank you. So I have a question as well. We're a new PTA. We're only in our, I want to say, second or third year, and we're kind of like brainstorming ideas, but we all have really young kids at the elementary school, and this is a new elementary school and a new experience with little ones. So I was wondering if there's anywhere where we can find out like what programs we should be advocating for, or what other elementary schools have that possibly we don't. Because it's like, I don't really know what questions to ask because I don't know what is out there, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So is he Sue, Cheryl, Peggy, Becky, anybody care to offer some suggestions there?
You're at Mangini Ranch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you can ask for the little ones. I mean, there are programs like that are already like prepackaged that you can download off the National PTA website, like internet safety. There's some bullying prevention, like on social media, or face-to-face bullying. You can invite people from the school district, because I know they've got people at the school district that can speak to the bullying aspect. I know that the school district people are always happy to help, come and speak to a topic. You can ask somebody from city council to come, from the Folsom City Council, come talk about all the new development that is out in your area. What the long range plan is, and because maybe people don't know about that. That might be interesting for your new parents.
You've also provided a little more incentive for me to go ahead and get that email out to the PTA presidents, so then I can share it and go, okay, here, your PTA presidents at elementary school, your PTA president at middle school, high school, you'll have a lot of things in common. So then you can create those sorts of connections to help support each other with ideas.
And then if you come to the Folsom Cordova mixer that I'm going to have, you can ask some of our more veteran PTAs, what they do, like ask Folsom Hills Elementary what programs they do for their little ones.
I love that. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah. PTA does have kind of a 3-to-1 guideline. The idea to try to make sure, because it sometimes can be easy for PTAs to sort of slip into that mindset of, oh, we're raising money, and like I said, money becomes something tangible. So people like to go, oh, let's see how big we can grow our bank account. That then tends to lose the focus of really what you want to do of improve, positively impact the lives of children. So try to follow this 3-to-1 guideline where you're having 3 things that enhance the school, enhance the experiences for the students, to the one, fundraising event. So that's a way to kind of really help, so you don't lose sight of the mission, purpose, and what you really want to accomplish with a PTA. And the strength of your organization is membership, and it should be a year-long campaign. I was thinking the other day, at the beginning of the year, you may have new parents. They may not know what PTA is. They may have a misperception that PTA is a social club, or it's just for the certain cliquish group. And it may take, months where they start hearing that, oh, the positive things that the PTA has been doing in October, November, December, January, that then they kind of go, oh, well, gee, maybe I should join the PTA. So keep in mind that always be welcoming and inviting, and let people know that you're always open to people joining. Let's see, is our membership chair, I wasn't sure if she wanted to add anything at this point.
No, Tom, actually, I've just been listening. Great advice. Year-long campaign is the key. Keep encouraging. If you see new faces, a parent shared with me not that long ago that they have like half sheets of paper, for those, especially with young kids, where the parents are still dropping them off, with little reminders, also about the PTA meeting coming up Thursday, 6 p.m. Just doing it the week of. Obviously, everybody tries to market it early on, and it's on the website and everybody knows, but sometimes there's just that personal involvement, personal touch of going up and saying, oh, hey, it's great, icebreaker, oh, what grade is your student in? Oh, hey, I'm Linda, I'm the membership chair. Here's an invitation to our PTA meeting, would love to see you.
Yeah. And you can also set, miles or times throughout the year where, the grade level that maybe has the biggest advance in membership. So you could have that run a couple times through the year. I always think that, competition helps bring about excellence. And so, all right, then, in the end, for some things, then you need to make sure that the budget is done, that your income and your expenses are balanced. It's always good to make sure you have those monthly meetings just to keep on track, to review the monthly bank statement, and to take a look, make sure that that your budget is on track, and to make adjustments if you need to your budget, as certainly when things like the pandemic happened and lots of PTAs had to make adjustments to the budget that they started off with at the beginning of the school year. So making changes to the budget is part of that communication process of letting your members and know that how things are proceeding and on track, and the members appreciate it because when they feel like there's transparency and they know how the funds are coming in and going out, then they're much more likely to feel like this is a transparent organization that's welcoming, that I feel a part of. I can ask questions, get answers. I'm going to keep supporting it. And so I think that pretty much brings us to the end of the presentation. Again, we've got our website where you can find our third district leadership team that's there to support you. And I'll just see if there's any final questions. Okay. All right, well, thank you. It's been a pleasure having you here. And I really appreciate the work that you're all doing. That's something to keep in mind is as an all volunteer organization, then people become part of it, not for monetary material, compensation. So it's always good to keep in mind and let people know that you appreciate the job that they're doing. Sometimes it's easy to forget and to reach out, but that really builds your organization and lets people know that you appreciate them. And it's really a lot of the basis of the PTA. So I want to thank all of you for attending. Some really great questions and comments in the chat. I look forward to reading through them. And then we have, take a look at our calendar, take a look if there's other workshops occurring this week, and invite others to join and involve. And like I say, communicate, share out what you learned tonight, share out your experiences, and also communicate back to us with ideas, things that we can do better, because every organization can always improve. And thank you. So, any parting comments from anybody else? Okay. Thank you all, and I'll go ahead and you can stop the recording. Thank you.